This conference will now be recorded.
चतुर्मुखसमारम्भां वाग्भटाचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् रागादिरोगान् सततानुषक्तानशेषकाय प्रसृतानशेषान् औत्सुक्यमोहारदिदान् जघान यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. So in our last session, we have practically concluded almost all points that are to be discussed. But later, I thought we can consider a few more things which are important clinically, which are important in practice when you deal with kids with a spectrum disorder. So number one is the importance of diet. In our experience, we have seen that diet factor plays a very crucial role in the outcome. Whatever precision you have given in your prescription as far as the best medicine, the best preparation, and the finest of intellectual background that you have put into come to the prescription, everything is okay, fine, no doubt, but the diet is going to outsmart all these things. And if the caretakers are not complying with the diet, I think the outcome will be practically nil. And the diet part is easy to comply when the child is in his or her early years of development. Say, for example, you can put a baby, a child, on any particular diet, whatever the pattern is, if you start that diet from the very beginning. As the child grows, his chetana, his sattva, his ego, his ahankara, all these things will be more and more established, and he will develop his own ishtanishta, likes and dislikes, and then things will become more and more tough. So if you start a child treating for ASD at the age of 2, that will be wonderful, because you can put him on any particular medicated, I mean the specific patyahara, what we prescribe. But when you start with a child who is 10 years old, it will be very difficult, and that will make all sorts of problem in the family environment, because there may be two kids. One may be a normal kid and the other one may be a special kid, and the special kid is maybe 10 and the other one may be 5 or 12. So you will have to put the entire family on the diet. That will create also all sorts of issues, because the normal child may be bringing lot of things which the other child, the spectrum child, cannot take, maybe from the school, from a party, or some other place, and this will be creating lots of issues. So practically the child will start grabbing food from others, stealing food from others. I had one boy who used to say, whenever they travel in a public transport, maybe a bus or so, whenever the bus stops on a particular point, the child used to run out of the bus and rush into any one of the nearby houses on the roadside, and instinctively he will go to the kitchen and grab food from that kitchen. So that sort of issues may occur. So you have to make the entire family members convinced of the importance of patyahara, and they should comply accordingly. Otherwise, the outcome could be practically frustrating. So that is one important point. And regarding the types of the diet, types of the patyahara what we prescribe, as I told in the last session, gluten and casein are two dangerous proteins these days, which creep into our daily food in innumerable forms. Say, if you prefer to avoid wheat, many a times I know that in the central and northern part of the country, wheat is the staple. So avoiding wheat is practically difficult, emotionally very distressing as well. So avoiding wheat from the kitchen will be one of the biggest challenges. If at all the family succeeds in avoiding the wheat, in many other forms the wheat will get into your home. Most of the ready to eat prepared foods that you get maybe during a travel or maybe during a function, something like that, will contain or contaminate the stuff with the wheat, either wheat products, maybe atta, maybe rava, or something like that. So something could be there. Interestingly, in India, the regulations are very poor. So if you get a biscuit, which is known as maybe the marigold or something like that, in which you are not expecting wheat, if you go through the label, you will understand that it contains 75% or more of wheat. So you will be buying it as a product of arrowroot, but arrowroot will be minimal. So the label will cheat you. Arrowroot is a safe food for them, but if you get the arrowroot biscuit from the market, it will not be arrowroot but 70% wheat. Similarly, many things are always added on or accommodated. See, example, the hing which you use in your kitchen, the hing what you get contains a good deal of wheat in it. So you will not get pure hing. So that is to be addressed. So when you make rasam or sambar, if you prepare the same stuffs with the sambar powder available in the market, obviously the hing will contain wheat in it and that can create issues. Similarly, the casein, the milk protein, which I already discussed, we have practically spoiled the entire positive qualities of the kshiram what we get these days. Unless and otherwise you have a native Indian cow, deshi cow with you in your house, it is practically impossible to get good quality milk. So you may be getting many things in the name of wheat, sorry, name of milk, but most of the time they will be disastrous as far as the child's treatment is concerned. So these two things are very important. Apart from that, you have to avoid this excessive sugar stuffs. Sugary things gives plenty of energy to the child, and that flooding of energy within the system will make the child unnecessarily hyperactive, and the behavior will go to such an extent which will be interpreted as socially inappropriate. The child may hug others, may pull the hair of other children, may jump from dangerous heights, may pull the domestic furniture or other instruments or the domestic equipments and create all sort of mess, and you will have to restrict the child from taking this sugary stuffs to the best level possible. That is very important. Then certain protein stuffs like this apple, then cashew nuts and peanuts. These three things. Apple not for its sugar content, but for another chemical. But obviously, cashew and peanuts for their special protein contents. So these three things are also seen to aggravate or worsen the hyperactive level, then obsessive behaviors, and lack of attention, then sleep disorders, all these things. So these all stuffs are to be taken into consideration while prescribing or advising the Patyahara for ASD kids. This is very important. Now, something I will explain from whatever I told regarding the Patyahara. I hope you will be getting a very good idea about the importance of family cooperation. Family cooperation is the most crucial part, especially the father and mother may understand what we are talking about, but that need not be the case with the grandparents, because obviously the grandparents will be so affectionate. Everybody is affectionate, but the class of affection that the grandparents are showing is entirely different. And interestingly, I will tell you frankly that most of these grandparents these days will be working hard, maybe in government sector or in some other sector, especially in the urban settings, during their parenthood, during their early years, and they might not have taken care of their children. That means the parent of our present child properly. So that will be kept inside their attitude as some sort of an arrear of affection, and they will be showering this arrear of affection to this child, obviously. So quite this show, this expression of love will be quite overwhelming, and they will be obviously prejudiced or preoccupied with the notion that all growing children need plenty of milk. Without milk, there will be a lot of issues. So they tend to give milk and milk products whenever they get a chance. So unless and otherwise they are properly educated, properly informed about the gravity of the issue and the outcome that can have when you feed the child with milk and dairy products, I think they will not comply with our Patyahara program. So that is also a very important thing. Same is the case with the family get-togethers these days. Family get-togethers in the urban dwelling is very frequent these days, not during this COVID days obviously, but in general. For any reason there will be a party. That may be a birthday party, that may be a wedding anniversary, that may be something else this side, something else that side. There will be frequent parties, and all these parties will be obviously containing thick stocks of sugary stuffs as well as dairy stuffs. So practically there will be a crisis. Either these parents will be deciding to not to go for these parties, and that will end up in some sort of a social isolation, or they will go to the party and unfortunately the child will indulge in all that sorts of apatyahara. So this is a crisis. So in due course we have to make some sort of a social uh, change in mental makeup, that every party contains safe food for ASD kids. In the first attempt, you may feel this suggestion as quite a weird one, but this is a reality in many of the Western countries where the ASD prevalence is very high. So you will have to think about arranging GFCF counters in all parties in the future, obviously. So these are very important. Then another interesting thing what I have seen is the importance of therapies. The therapy centers need not be convinced about the importance of Patyahara. They may not be bothering with the Ayurvedic perspective of autism management. they will be coming from their conventional schools, which are the orthodox training centers. So in the such training centers, the children are taught or trained in one particular system which is very often used, and that system is to give reward to the child whenever he or she obeys one suggestion. Say in the speech therapy, if the child pronounces the term or the word properly, he will be getting a reward. Similarly, in the occupational therapy, if the child delivers a task properly, he will be getting a reward. So this reward most often will be in the form of sweets. So that is going to be a big challenge. We cannot avoid the training because they are very, very important. Meantime, we cannot compromise the diet as well. So you will have to work very closely with the people who are giving or providing the therapy, and they should be properly informed about the importance of following this diet. So these constraints are there. Another interesting observation that I have made in my practice is that when the parents, especially the mother, is more stressed, I can understand that every parent will be stressed when their child is diagnosed with ASD. There is no wonder in it. There is nothing special in it because the diagnosis of ASD in a child is quite devastating for every family, no doubt. But I have seen many mothers who could be called as designated as maybe the autism warriors, like the current terminology of COVID warriors. They are autism warriors, and they maintain such a wonderful mental makeup that they come out and fight. Such mothers, such parents succeed in the entire process of treating autism spectrum wonderfully well. And those parents who get frustrated continuously, obviously the first phase will be frustration. That is quite understandable, but you should come out of it. And those parents who succeed in coming out of the initial frustration understand the situation logically and decides to fight it out, the entire outcome will be extraordinarily beautiful, because the stress of the parents within the four walls of the house definitely reflects in the behavior of the child. So in the treatment procedure, if the mother or father or both goes into episodes of depression or frustration or anxiety or anger or whatnot, obviously that will be reflecting in the development of the child. You may think that the child is not understanding your emotions, but that is not the case. Even if he or she is not responding appropriately as per your expectation, he or she is catching up with every changes in the emotional atmosphere within the family. So you have to make the parents convinced that their mood, their determination, their involvement, everything counts in the treatment process. So these are few points which I would like to give emphasis while completing this session on ASD. Now I think I can have a few doubts.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know how we are going to operate it. I hope Nilesh will maybe reading them out or some other way. Whatever it is,
Yes.
I will try to explain or answer whichever is practical. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll read out a few questions.
Fine.
Yes, sir. Autism being a yapia should the patient be kept on some maintenance therapy or Rasayan Chikitsa? If yes, what kind of treatment has to be given as maintenance?
Okay, that's a good question. If you diagnose the situation properly in time and start with the proper treatment, I would say that in most of the situations, or autism need not be yapya. It can be sadhya, need not be yapya. And obviously, it is a conditional clause. Many times, this such ideal situations will not prevail. So we will have to consider it as yapya. So that way it is a good point. So like any other yapya disease, pathyabhyasad, only that is the way out to maintain the situation. So you will have to put the child on continuous patyahara, no excuse. And rasayanas are important. Okay, rasayanas are very important, and medhya rasayanas are the significant or relevant ones in this particular context. And as I told earlier, you can use ghee appropriately prepared. We have got n number of ghees which are perfectly suiting the situation. You can use gold containing preparations like maybe Panjaravindam or Suvarna Bhasmam or anything. You may have your own choices. So that may be used. So role of Rasayana is very significant. And interestingly, what I have decided recently is that I will not offer a possible cure in children above 10 years. If we start at the age of 2 or 3, I think to the best we can offer a cure, a reversal from the spectrum. But after 10, generally it is more about a management than about a cure. So obviously it becomes an established yapya situation. Then patyahara and rasayana and repeated in-house treatments of for symptomatic improvement as well as making the child more handy and manageable. So that is what I have to say about it. If the point is not clear, obviously I can repeat.
I think sir has explained everything. Next question is, can we do Karnapuran in autism? By which oil? And how can we reduce hyperactivity in such child?
I could not get the question very clearly. The question is whether we
I'll
can do Karnapuran, or if yes, with what oil? That is the question, isn't it?
yes sir.
Actually, this treatment list is something like a menu card which you get in a restaurant. You can have maybe 100 items in the menu card, no problem. But whether to do one thing in particular or not is your choice according to the situation. There may be 100 items in the menu, but you will be selecting as per your wish, your need, and your capacity, isn't it? Your wish, your need, and your capacity. Accordingly, you have to decide. If the situation demands that the child needs Karnapuranam, because Karnapuranam is a specific strategy. It has multiple applications. Number one, as a specific tool for Karna Gada Rogas. If the intention of the question is whether to address this, whether to address the particular issues like maybe hyperacusis or something of that sort, and we resort on Karnapurana, okay, fine, no issue. More than that, as an indriya, sometimes I have tried applying medicines in all the indriyas, like sometimes we give anjana, then in possible patients we give gandusha, then karnapurana, all these things. And when the situation is quite demanding, you can go for it, but it need not be made as a routine procedure, and it does not give any particular effect in such routine applications. So when you find that okay, it is quite essential and you go for it, you can ideally opt for indriya prasadana type of oils like Kshirabala, Dhanvantaram, or that sort of Thailam. Okay.
Okay, sir. The next question is how to reduce hyperactivity in such child?
In such child means ASD kids.
ASD kids. Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually hyperactivity is not the problem. It is not the cause of every issue, as I discussed the other day. It is the effect of autism. So when you go for a complete management program, hyperactivity also comes down. You need not go for any specific medication to reduce hyperactivity. Meantime, parallel to our therapy, if you can get a good imaginative person as occupational therapist, there are many techniques that can be evolved, that can be customized for each child independently. So I would strongly recommend to make use of the help of a occupational therapist.
Okay, sir. The next question is in many ASD kids in Purvarup Avastha, or what we can say in this beginning of the disease, in much patients, apasmar veg is observed. In modern terminology, they call it as seizures. So, how can we compare this apasmar with ASD, and what are the similarities?
Okay. In ASD kids, generally seizure disorder is a very prevalent comorbidity. But interestingly, you have to have your own way of understanding the situation. You need not run after one situation which prompts the modern neurologist or pediatrician to prescribe an anti-epileptic medication. Routine prescriptions will be there sometimes. I know one a neurologist in Kerala who prescribes anti-epileptics as a routine prescription, as a routine medication in all cases of ASD. But I have not seen any advantage of using anti-epileptics that way. So we have to put our mind on such situations, whether it is a real apasmara or not. When the child has gone through an EEG, there may be multiple possibilities. Sometimes there may be changes in the EEG by the child, but the child may be asymptomatic. There may not be changes in the EEG, but the child may be getting seizures. There may be changes in the EEG, and the child also will be having epileptic attacks. So there are multiple possibilities like this. And many a times you have to have a close observation of the child, because the seizure problem that can happen in ASD kids need not be as visible as we expect. There can be silent seizures, very dormant type of this akshebaka type of problems. That may be just a shivering of the angles of the mouth. That may be just a very small incident of just rolling over of the eyes. Maybe it twitches on the face. Maybe just a standstill for a millisecond, something like that. So there may be many small presentations, micro presentations, that sometimes even the parents have not noticed. So you have to go for a very detailed uh, description of what is happening. And interestingly, all these things need not be considered as apasmara. Many times these can be vishajanya apasmara, not swatantra apasmara, vishajanya apasmara. And secondarily, most of these things can be murcha, not apasmara. So all the children need not be treated with anti-epileptics. Sometimes they may be treated with krimihara types of medicines. Sometimes that may be agada, vishahara types of medicines, and very rarely with the apasmarahara dravyas. So you should try to make out what is happening in this particular child, whether it is a swadandra vyadhi, whether it is a vyadhi sankara, or it is a upadrava. So these three possibilities are to be considered and act accordingly.
Okay, sir. The next question is, many of the patients of ASD, in those patients we see lakshanas of Grahabada, and if such lakshanas are seen, then can Daiva Vipassana Chikitsa be used in such patients?
The answer is definitely yes. Definitely yes. But the issue is you should be able to convince the parents about the situation. If the parents are not in the way of or in the mindset of thinking or considering the element of graha, bhuta graha or whatever, bala graha or whatever it is behind that sort of a clinical manifestation, I think they will not come to you for a review. So that is very important. Another thing is, in any case, whether it is Bhudagraha or Deva Vipasraya Chikitsa is indicated or any other clinical situation, ultimately you should have, as a Vaidya who is dealing with the Yukti Vipasraya Chikitsa, you should have a thorough look, thorough investigation, or thorough understanding about the doshic disturbance that could have happened in that particular child. And you should be primarily focusing on the dosha status, and all other intervention should be supportive or complementary to the Yukti Vipasraya Chikitsa. So you are not supposed to quit the Yukti Vipasraya Chikitsa completely, but you can add Deva Vipasraya Chikitsa as an add-on, as a complementary to the Yukti Vipasraya. And the most important thing is that you should be fully convinced and you should succeed in convincing this idea to the parents. Otherwise, entire show will fail. Okay.
Okay, sir. So we will take a few questions from this chat box.
Fine.
Yes. Sir, there is an issue with avoidance of sugar, as the rasa is ajanma satmya. That too in children. What would be the alternative?
Yeah, that is a good question, because we all learned that ajanma satmyat kurude dhadunam prabalam balam. Fine, but that need not be in the form of refined sugar. Madhura is important, not the sugar. So you can go for many alternatives. Say if you have the natural sugars like fruits, fine, it is good. Or instead of sugar, that refined sugar, you can go for, see, the jaggery or sugar candy made out of coconut palm or the other palm. So palm jaggery and palm sugar, coconut jaggery and coconut sugar may be a better options. So you need not avoid Madhura Rasa completely. The source is what we are talking about, not about the Rasa. I think it is clear.
Next question. As we will be avoiding casein and gluten, then what to include to make a complete balanced diet?
There are many other sources for gluten and casein, no issue. Casein, of course, you have to, if the system is not accepting, what is there in talking about the glory of the stuff? The ultimate decision making point is whether your Agni is accepting it or not. Even if it is Amrit, if your Agni is not accepting, it is not Amrit, it is Visha, isn't it? So forget about the stuffs, casein or gluten and its wonderful activities that can be achieved in the body. Only focus on whether this is good for the Agni of the child or not. Accordingly, you will have to redesign the diet. That's all. There are n number of options for that.
Okay, sir. Next question. Sir, what would be the reasoning from Ayurvedic perspective to avoiding wheat, as Godum is the Satasri?
Godum is considered as a
Satatshilaniya.
stuff which can be used for daily use, isn't it? In Ayurvedic classics, it is coming under the Nityopayoga Ahara. That's a good question. As I told, in the case of milk is also good, isn't it? Milk is like Amrit, no doubt. But the question is whether you are getting the product as if in the same way as if you envisage it in the textbooks. Similarly, wheat is good. You know, I think if I am right, India had maybe 1,000 types of wheat varieties. Different types of wheat varieties. Unfortunately, most of them have become, severely endangered. Most of them are vanished completely. Instead, we are cultivating, we are growing, and we are consuming the wheat which is modified by using biotechnology, and mainly this is the American wheat what we are using these days. So even though the Sanskrit name is still Godhuma, the Godhuma what is understood and explained in the classics is not the same what you are consuming now as Godhuma. This is a biotech product. Interestingly, there are many works done in this regard. There is one book called Wheat Belly, which shows the dangers of using this American wheat and the health issues which pop up out of this usage of wheat. And there is another condition itself called GAPS, gut and psychology syndrome, GAPS, which very clearly shows what is going to happen even in the mental level if you use this so-called safe wheat. So there are many studies in this regard, how dangerous this thing is going to be in the growing children and even in the grown up. So as long as we are getting good wheat which is genetically Indian, there is no issue. As long as you get pure milk which is genetically Indian, there is no issue. But what you get right now is unfortunately not the stuff which we are expecting. So that is how we have to put on some harsh restrictions on these stuffs. Okay.
Okay, sir. The next question is, if diagnosis is made late, like after 12 to 14 years, as it doesn't come under classical ASD case, and at this age, if we start the protocol suggested by you, then what is the prognosis as per your experience? I think, sir, just now you have answered this question, that if the diagnosis is before age of 10, then we can have a positive prognosis, and after the age of 10 years, it just becomes a management, isn't it?
Yeah, that is true. But one point I can add, that is, see, in general cases, in almost all cases of ASD, you will not miss a diagnosis, see, beyond the age of 3. Any parent noticing the changes, the extraordinary behavior pattern of their child by the age of 3, latest by the age of 3. So that is how a classical ASD child is expected to be brought to your clinic. But if a child was behaving perfectly up to the age of 10 or 12, he was growing perfectly normal in a very socially appropriate manner, then all of a sudden start regressing and start showing the features of ASD, that should be considered as a different type of disease that need not be the classical autism. There may be some psychotic issues added on, or a newly manifested psychotic issues, or it may be some sort of another neuropsychological problems. So every options should be considered in the diagnosis of such children. So sometimes it may be an unmada, agantuja unmada, doshaja unmada, or sometimes it may be a graha. So all these options are to be, that need not be considered as a ASD anymore, and the strategy also should be modified accordingly. In any case, I think, as I told in the theoretical part of our protocol, this will give you a beautiful idea about what could have happened behind his behavioral changes. So that will be helpful.
Okay, sir. Which substitute we can use instead of milk at morning times especially?
Yeah, there are many options. Actually, the mothers are the wonderful inventors in this regard than the Vaidyas. So I have got many ideas from the parents only. So this almond milk is an option. Almond milk. This almond is put in boiled water or boiled cool water overnight. Next day morning, that almonds are peeled off and then crushed or pasted using a mixer or something like that. And that particular uh, strained milk is called almond milk in this context. That can be given as a delicious drink for them. But interestingly, in the initial phase, all these things are serious problems, because this milk, which contains casein, actually gives some sort of a boost, some sort of an intoxication to the child. So they will be showing some sort of a craving for these sort of stuffs for both wheat as well as milk. So they will start creating all sorts of issues when they are denied with the milk or wheat. So that is why I told, in the initial stages you will be able to physically manage this, and in no time the child will get adapted to the new pattern. So there are options, like you can give fruit juices, you can give this badam milk or almond milk, and many other options. Coconut milk is an option, even rice milk is tried by some parents. So there are options.
Uh, okay, sir. Sir, how long the gold preparations medicine should be continued?
Generally what we do is giving 25 milligrams of Swarna Bhasma for in 40 doses, 25 milligrams into 40 doses. That means in total 1 gram. Sometimes we give it as daily dose continuously for 40 days. Sometimes we give on alternate days, then it will take 80 days. Sometimes we give once or twice in a week. I have tried all these things, and this sometimes is decided by, if the patient, I mean the child is a grown-up one, like maybe 12 years, 13 years or like that, we can give the Sornabhasmam every day for 40 days continuously. But in very small kids, maybe 3 year, 2 year, I think once in a week or twice in a week even is sufficient. In between, you can decide it as on alternate days or something like that. So there are options, and this 1 gram generally we give once in a year. That means 40 days or 40 doses of Swarna Bhasma in a year. Then the next year only we will be giving, because for multiple reasons. I think if everything else is perfect, I think even you can continue this for maybe 90 days or something, like 90 doses up to. But affordability is also big crisis. 1 gram Swarna Bhasma will be costing around 8,000 rupees or around like that. So that also should be considered.
Okay, sir. The next question is there any diagnostic method to identify potential ASD child during infancy or before the age of 1 year by assessing his or her Agni or other behaviors? If so, can we suggest treatment to the mother since the breast milk is the main food?
There is no diagnostic procedures as of now. There is no diagnostic procedures, but I think we need not wait for the diagnosis to come. If say for example, if one couple is already having an ASD kid, and if that mother is going to get conceived once again, she can go through the classical way of pregnancy, preconceptional care, pregnancy care, and the postnatal care as well. So I think that can be made as a standard operation, because as I told in my first session itself, the incidence is becoming very high. So the prevalence in the society is also very high. So I think in spite of our daily rush, in spite of our busy engagements and everything, I think we should put the pregnant women on a highly privileged class, and we should give them all sorts of comforts possible in terms of physical and mental health. Upachara Priyahidai. I discussed this. Upachara Priyahidai. Bharta Bhrityaischa Garbhadruk. So that Garbhadruk, whatever is possible for that, should be provided. I think that should come in our policy. It is not about say a few Ayurvedic people. It should be coming under the policy. Then of course when we come up with the suggestion, they will be asking for evidence whether your program is going to avoid the incidents or cut short the incidents of ASD in the society or not. So right now itself, let the Ayurvedic people start documenting that what is going to happen in mothers who are following Ayurvedic procedures preconceptionally up to the postnatal or end of Sudika or something like that, and how it is affecting their offspring's mental and physical health. All these things we may start documenting, because for a control we have everything in the society. Every other mothers can be considered as a control as well. But I think at one point of time we will have to go back to all these traditional methods.
Okay, sir. Can we use medicated ghee in initial stages as we have to avoid casein?
As a last point, to avoid casein.
Casein. Yes, sir.
Okay, the thing is, see, ghee is the best medicine many a times, but ghee is beneficial when there is pure Agni. Let the pure Agni be very weak, no problem, ghee will promote it. But when there is Agni Dushti, I think you cannot give ghee. That is the point that we have to keep in our mind. And ghee, classically homemade Indian ghee, is completely devoid of casein. It has no casein in it, so you can use it. But two things: number one, it should be properly made. Number two, Agni Dushti should not be there. So when these two factors are taken into consideration, definitely you can follow the child up with the ghee, no problem.
Okay, sir. What can be done in ASD kid aged 6 who has not started speaking yet?
Yeah, along with the treatment, that many times the speech is a big constraint. In my personal experience, I have seen the speech as the biggest challenge in management of ASD kids, because we can wait maybe up to 5 years, 6 years maximum. Beyond that, you cannot expect the child to start speaking. Of course, if it happens, we are happy, no problem. But up to that, you can treat him intensively with our medicines, where we will be adding the special types of medicines like Vaja or something which can improve the capacity to vocalize. But beyond certain limit, you will have to empower the child with non-verbal communication training as well. Speech is a big challenge. So just because of a deficiency in speech, the child should not be denied with his privilege of interacting or living in the society. So at one point you have to decide that, okay, now we will be continuing the treatment for development of speech, but parallelly we will introduce him to non-verbal type of communication training as well. There are many things, many apps are available these days which will help the parents to give speech training. Many things, highly advanced ones, and speech therapy is a highly conventional one, but definitely if you have got an imaginative speech therapist, they can help wonderfully. So all these things together, plus modifying the internal atmosphere with the patyahara and aushadha, may work in most of the cases. Okay.
Okay, sir. If the kid has only self-harming issues and communication issues, on what part we should concentrate while treating?
No, the same thing is sufficient. You need not bother about the individual presentations, because all these things are ultimately because of the mithya sapna grahanam and mithya cheshta. So the cycle where we are explaining all these things from the indriya, from the jnanendriya point to the karmendriya point, through atma via manas, the same circuit is to be rectified. So whether it is self-destructive behavior, see, self-destruction, whatever it is a cheshta. So no normal person is expected to harm himself. Biting on his hands or banging his head on the wall is not expected. So it is a mithya cheshta. So if the body is to perform such a mithya cheshta, there should be some wrong command from the buddhi. So it is all about the polluted, the toxic thing in which the ojas is working and the buddhi is getting wrong information from manas. You need not bother about or finding out specific medicine for all these things. When the issue is addressed to the core, all these issues will subside themselves.
Okay, sir. How come apple should not be given? Here in France, it is a very common fruit with more than 20 varieties like banana for India, and only fruit we have in winter. So how to manage it in such a season?
Fine, that is a troubling question, because apple is restricted for some of its chemical contents like phenol. There are some observations that the phenol makes this child unnecessarily disturbed internally. So that is why apple is restricted. But if it is a good thing and by a trial and error method it is established that the apple or a particular type of apple which has the questionnaire is, the question asks that there are 20 types or something like that. If there is a particular types in that set of apples which is not making any issue, definitely that can be used, because ultimately all what I'm sharing is a general information, isn't it? Shastrarthan vyabino vidyad prayogamstu eigadeshigan. So when you put this in your local atmosphere, local situation, you will have to customize it. If there is a safe apple, good, you can use, no problem.
Okay, sir. Please tell about Sarasvatarishta, its Falashruti, many condition including Ojavardhan, is it shows practically, and which one is more useful, Suvarna Yukta or regular one?
Saraswatarishtam that way is a wonderful medicine, but the problem is, as we discussed in our protocol part, it has its duty in the third phase of the treatment. So don't try such wonderful medicines unnecessarily in the first phase or second phase, where the Agni, Dhatu and Srotas are not Shuddha. So once Agni, Dhatu and Srotas is Shuddha, definitely you can use medicines like Saraswatarishta, and obviously the one with gold is the best option, no doubt.
Okay, sir. Camel milk has an special role. Is it an alternative? And
Yes, I
so,
have seen. Yeah, I
and
have
also
seen.
we
Yes,
can
please.
extend it up to Ajadugdha also, sir.
Yeah, regarding this goat's milk and camel's milk, I think these are better alternatives, no doubt. I have seen kids tolerating very well with the camel's milk, and in some cases that is even beneficial in reversing some of the symptoms and improving the child overall. But the problem is, camel's milk you have to get fresh, and which one is not pasteurized and boiled also. Even when you boil it, I think it becomes or it develops some sort of a salty taste, which is many a times not tolerable. So there are some practical issues like that, and you cannot expect the available the camel's milk to be available everywhere like cow's milk. Regarding goat's milk, as I told, in the case of cow's milk, many manipulations have already done uh, in the texture or the type of goat's milk, because of this intervention of biotechnology for improving the yield and everything. So if you can avoid that risk, if you can get native Ajakshiram, definitely that is also good, no issue.
Okay, sir. Is there any need to restrict milk or wheat products to normal child?
That's a tough question to answer, because we are dealing with the abnormal children. So I think if you can avoid these stuffs, especially if you are not accustomed to wheat traditionally, you need not venture into introducing wheat in as a new stuff, because in the south I know very well that maybe in the last 20 years or so, in the presence of wheat in the daily menu is very high, which is against the traditional practice. Traditionally, the in the south generally we do not use wheat at all. We are basically rice eaters, but in the last 20 years or so, the presence is very high. It has become customary or ritualistic these days, even to have chapati as a one meal a day. So these things may not be beneficial, I think, many a times. I do not know. I'm not in a position to make a very strong comment on it, because I think there are many other factors influencing.
Okay, sir. As far treatment is concerned, how is shaman oral medicine given? Mixing with food or etc. Also, if panchakarma therapies are required, how to manage as these kids doesn't follow orders?
Yeah, I think both these things are easy. Only thing is that you should have an attitude. Regarding the medicine, I think the biggest challenge will be the parents, because we presume that whatever we do not like or we do not prefer, the children also will not prefer. So generally we have got an aversion towards bitter taste, so we presume that the children also will have an aversion towards bitter taste. But that need not be the case, especially the young children. If you can introduce Tikta Rasa in the very beginning itself, they will comfortably consume it. So and in our earlier days, there was a practice of giving kashaya or whatever bitter medicines to the children forcefully. Maybe in a week's time they will simply accept it. But these days the parents, even the grandmothers, are not in such a mental setup to force feed these medicine to the children. That is the only constraint. So you have to educate them. See, you have only two options: either to force feed this medicine to your child, or to live with this ASD. So out of compulsion, they will start giving, and in no time, maximum 1 week, they will start eating this kashayam or churnam or whatever it is. No problem when properly formed. There are exceptions. There are exceptions in which we have to make modifications. I have tried making arka out of kashayam, which is practically a tasteless. Say drakshadi arkam, I am trying these days. So I think practically a tasteless stuff, which is more comfortable for these kids. So that is also an option. You can make any improvisations accordingly. And regarding the panchakarma treatments or whatever kriyakramas what we are supposed to do, you should have a set of well-trained therapists. That's all, who comfortably manage these kids. Say maybe in a month's time or so, they will master the art of dealing these kids, and things go comfortably. That is what my experience is.
Okay, sir. I'm not able to identify the word. Can any sheep preparation be given? SHEEPAPAK.
Can you just specify the time of that question? I shall find it from the chart. The time.
816. Dr.
8.
Anju Navle.
Dr. Anju. Can any
Sir, it was
sheep?
Sheer Park. Sheer Park, sir.
Sheeta
Sorry to
Paga.
intervene.
Sheeta Paga. Sheeta. Out of the 5,
Sorry,
Kalpana.
Sheer Park. Sheer Park.
Sheera
The
Paga.
Dugdha.
Sheera
Sheer
Paga.
Park, sir.
Yeah, generally we do not prescribe Kshira Paga for the same reasons for which we restricted Kshira.
Okay, sir. Then again, some question regarding milk. Sir, yes. Giving milk at morning is beneficiary for kids as it is Kaphavardak.
You have to find alternative. See, for example, this Mudgasubam is given as an alternative for Kshira, isn't it? So that way, I think you have to use.
Okay, sir. What is the impact of Garbhini Apachara and Sutika Charya Apachara on Sadhya Sadhyatva and Chikitsa in above context?
It's a very tough question, because this apachara, what might have been done already, is done. It is a matter of the past. So when we pinpoint a particular incident of ASD as resulted by some Garbhini apachara, that is a lifetime point of regret for that mother, isn't it? So ultimately, I think you need not bother about what is already done in the past, but very aggressively you can propagate in the society about the need of following proper upachara in the Garbhini period as well as in the Sudika period. Otherwise, there may be point, definitely that may be contributing, but it is already done. It is already a matter of past, and there is no remedy for that. Say, for example, a mother, a carrying lady, meets with an infection, and she was forced to have a course of heavy antibiotics during her pregnancy, and later she delivers and the child develops ASD, and we just ask a question, have you taken some antibiotics in your pregnancy? Then this poor lady will be recollecting that, okay, yes, I had a problem in the 4th month and I took a strong antibiotic. And then we suggest that, okay, that could be the reason for this issue. Just think about her attitude, her condition at that time. How will she compensate for that antibiotic which she had already taken? And if she is made an impression very strong that that antibiotic made my child autistic, how regretful she will be through the entire lifetime. So I think it is a very tough situation to handle, and it makes no sense. Ideally, we can create an awareness that, okay, during the pregnancy period, the best option is to avoid strong medication. So in order to avoid strong medications, you will have to live a healthy life. Then only it is practically possible. And interestingly, when we suggest that this antibiotic course could be the reason for making the child autistic, there may be another n number of pregnant women who might have consumed even stronger medicines, still delivered normal kids. So finding an association is very difficult. Interestingly, when we have an abnormal child born, we look into the reasons. But when we have a normal child born, we never look into the reasons, isn't it? No mother wonders, oh my God, how I was blessed with a normal child. I never expected this, isn't it? There is no such question. There is no such inquiry. So I think in this retrospective elements, we cannot give extra emphasis as long as it is very evident, very evident. But interestingly, I have observed personally that all these factors can be contributory in the outcome, in deciding whether the child will be healthy or not. But I think as long as we do not have a very strong say to establish this, I think we need not discuss this in public. I think I am clear.
Okay, sir. Is Suvarna Siddha Jal, if Suvarna Siddha Jala is given regularly to ASD child, because one can give this regularly?
What is Suvarna Siddha Jala?
Sir,
Supriya, Dr. Supriya Kulkarni. What is it?
yes. Suvarna Siddha Jala means, sir, while boiling the water, we put some gold ornaments.
Suvarna.
Yes, in that.
Okay, fine. I think as if we are keeping the water in silver bowls or copper bowls. Okay, fine. No issue. I think it might be. I don't know. I have no experience in it.
Okay, sir. Then last question is, what are the important points Vaidya should focus more in all the three phase chikitsa?
I would say that it is the Patyahara and the family support, especially the mental makeup of the mother. These two things are going to be the most influential things, even more than the medicines.
Okay, sir. I think we have covered all the questions which we have received, and
Yes.
I think for the listeners, sir has answered all the questions up to their expectations. Sir, thank you once again for your valuable time. I think
Thank you
it's
very
all.
much. Thank you very much. And I hope that there will be 100 practitioners who will be focusing on ASD all over India and abroad, so that at least the issue of ASD will not be will be a prevalent issue in the future. And one of the Ayurvedic doctors will be coming up with some great remedy for even addressing the ASD from the core. So best wishes to all of you, and thank you for the patient listen.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.